See, I just want to make sure y'all really understand exactly what I'm saying, because I've been betrayed before, publicly at that.
Nelly!
Word. So, I just want to make sure y'all feel it. Everything I get.
People thought the drama was finally over. After years of breakups, rumors, public shade, and emotional interviews, people believed the story had reached its happy ending. Ashanti and Nelly had reconnected. They weren't just dating again, they were married. And on top of that, there was a baby on the way. It felt like a full-circle love story straight out of a movie. But just when fans were celebrating, another name entered the chat, and this time it wasn't quiet. Shantel Jackson. The internet started buzzing. Subtle posts, cryptic captions, side-eye comments during live sessions. At first, people brushed it off as coincidence, but then the tone shifted. What started as shade turned into something darker. Words got sharper, accusations got louder, and suddenly fans were asking, did Shantel go too far? Because when love triangles mix with pride, history, and public embarrassment, things can explode in ways nobody expects. And what nobody saw coming was how ugly it would get after the wedding and pregnancy news went public. This wasn't just jealousy, this felt personal. To understand why everything spiraled the way it did, you have to go back to when Nelly and Ashanti were young, hot, and everywhere. They met in the early 2000s, two stars shining at the same time. Their chemistry was undeniable.
Are you crazy? Why did you think that this was absolutely not the person and the journey for you?
I mean, I guess when you go through a breakup, for me personally, I kind of just shut that person out. You know, kind of like, okay, that chapter is closed and you just move on, you know, and there's nothing.
For years, they kept their relationship quiet, almost mysterious. Fans saw the red carpets, the soft smiles, the glances that said more than interviews ever could. But love in the spotlight isn't easy. There were whispers, there were trust issues, there were long tours and even longer rumors, and eventually, around 2013, they went their separate ways. No dramatic press conference, no public meltdown, just distance, silence. And that silence lasted nearly a decade. During that time, Nelly built a serious relationship with Shantel Jackson. She wasn't just a random fling, she was there for years, through ups and downs, through cheating allegations, through public criticism. She defended him when other women made accusations. She stood 10 toes down beside him. In interviews, Nelly spoke highly of her. He talked about longevity, he talked about connection, he even hinted at forever. And Shantel believed that forever was coming. So imagine being with someone for years, believing you're building toward marriage, only to watch him circle back to the woman from his past. That's where the hurt begins, because when Nelly and Ashanti reunited publicly during that Versus moment, yes, the one that had everybody talking, it felt nostalgic, cute, harmless, until it wasn't. Versus became the unexpected stage where old sparks reignited. The hugs looked genuine, the smiles looked different. Something shifted in the air. Soon after, they were spotted holding hands, showing up at events, moving like a couple again. Then boom, engagement announcement. Then boom, pregnancy announcement. And quietly, it was later revealed they were already married. The internet exploded with congratulations, but behind the scenes, something else was brewing. At first, Shantel kept things classy, or at least that's how it appeared. A few moving forward quotes, a few never go backwards captions. People speculated, but there was no direct name-calling.
But here's the twist. The more Ashanti's baby bump grew, the more intense Shantel's energy seemed to get online.
I'm so hot. Am I single? Yes, I'm single and ready to mingle. My nationality, I am American Indian, black, and white. Let's see this. They said, what advice do you have for someone that went back to somebody they really loved? I mean, if that works out for you, you should do it. I don't go back. I don't go backwards. So
Fans began noticing patterns. Whenever Ashanti posted glowing maternity photos, Shantel would go live shortly after, speaking vaguely about betrayal and karma. When Nelly shared romantic captions about fatherhood, Shantel reposted cryptic memes about men who double back when they realized what they lost. It wasn't subtle anymore. Then came the live stream that had everyone gasping. Shantel didn't say Ashanti's name, but she didn't have to. She questioned the timeline. She implied emotional overlap. She suggested that some women don't mind building on foundations laid by others. The comment section went wild. Screenshots flew across blogs within minutes. And that's when things crossed the line. Because instead of just shade, it turned into what many called verbal abuse. She accused, she mocked, she laughed at the pregnancy glow. She hinted that marriages formed out of unfinished business don't last. Fans were divided. Some said she was hurt and speaking her truth. Others felt she was attacking a pregnant woman unnecessarily. What nobody expected was how calm Ashanti remained. No clapbacks, no messy interviews, just peace. But behind closed doors, sources say it wasn't easy. Imagine being newly married, expecting your first child, trying to stay stress-free, and every time you open your phone, there's another indirect jab. Stress during pregnancy is real, and Nelly, he reportedly wasn't happy. Because one thing about Nelly, he protects his image, and now his wife. Insiders claimed he reached out privately to shut it down, not aggressively, not publicly, just man to man, or in this case, man to ex. But instead of cooling off, Shantel allegedly doubled down. She spoke about being replaced. She implied she was strung along while he secretly held on to Ashanti. She painted a picture where she was the victim of emotional manipulation. Now, here's where it gets complicated, because heartbreak makes people react in ways they normally wouldn't. Was she abusive, or was she bleeding out loud? Social media doesn't care about nuance, it only cares about clips, and those clips painted her as bitter. Meanwhile, Ashanti glowed brighter. Public appearances, soft interviews about motherhood, smiling beside her husband like none of it fazed her. But let's be honest, it had to sting, because no woman wants her pregnancy overshadowed by drama from the past. Friends close to Ashanti allegedly encouraged her to speak out, to defend herself, but she chose silence. And sometimes silence speaks louder. Then came the final blow, a post that many interpreted as outright disrespect. Shantel shared an old throwback picture from her years with Nelly, a cozy one, captioned with something like, "Some bonds can't be erased." Fans called it obsessive, blogs labeled it harassment, and that's when public opinion shifted hard. Because reminiscing is one thing, but inserting yourself into a married man's new chapter, that's different, especially when there's a baby involved. Nelly finally addressed it subtly during a radio interview. He didn't name names, but he talked about growth, about maturity, about protecting his household. He made it clear he was focused on his wife and unborn child, and that was the closure. Not dramatic, not explosive, just firm. The emotional impact of all this runs deeper than gossip. For Shantel, this wasn't just losing a boyfriend, it was losing a future she thought was secure. Years invested, memories built, promises made. For Ashanti, this was stepping into motherhood while being publicly scrutinized, every smile analyzed, every post dissected.
For Nelly, it was a reminder that past relationships don't just disappear quietly, especially when they end without full closure. And for fans, it was a lesson, because love triangles don't just hurt in private anymore, they trend. Pregnancies don't just bring joy, they bring commentary. Marriages don't just unite two people, they sometimes reopen old wounds. But here's what stands out the most. Ashanti never let the noise steal her glow. No messy back and forth, no public dragging, just grace. And sometimes that's the loudest response of all. Shantel, on the other hand, faced backlash that probably hurt more than the breakup itself. Being labeled bitter, being called abusive, watching the internet turn on you. But pain can make people act out. The real question is whether healing will follow. Because at the end of the day, nobody truly wins in situations like this. One woman is building a family, another one is rebuilding her pride, and one man sits in the middle of a story that refuses to stay in the past.
But maybe this was always meant to happen. Maybe Ashanti and Nelly needed that time apart to grow into who they are now. Maybe Shantel was a chapter, not the final page. And maybe, just maybe, this public fallout will teach all of them something about boundaries, timing, and letting go. Because love isn't just about who comes back, it's about who stays when the storm hits. Right now, Ashanti and Nelly are choosing to stay. They're choosing peace over noise, family over drama, growth over gossip. And Shantel, she's at a crossroads. Does she continue reacting, or does she finally close that door for good? Only time will tell. But one thing is certain. When love, pride, and unfinished feelings mix under the spotlight, somebody always gets burned. And this time, the flames were impossible to ignore. So what do you think? Was this heartbreak spilling over, or did things cross a line? Because in Hollywood, the fairy tale ending always comes with a twist, and sometimes the real story begins after the wedding.